In this video, I'm going to be prepping the subfloor for the bottom of the boat. So I'm going to show you how I measure and cut out the stringers, get those fitted and ready to be glassed into place and for a new floor to go on top of them. Okay, so this is how I think I'm going to take my first shot at cutting these ribs out. So if you'll see in there, what I did is I took a measurement from, or first put a straight edge from here to here, and then I measured straight down to the base of the bed where these runners are going to sit, and then I marked those distances. I did one at 6 inches, one at a foot, and then did every foot after that, and I marked those out all the way down, and I checked on both the inner, the left and right runner, and to make sure they were consistent, basically make sure my straight edge was going directly across the boat, and it did. I was able to do that pretty consistently. Then I took those measurements and I translated them onto one of the boards I'm going to cut my runner out of. This is one of the outside two, so the way it worked out is the first foot mark was 4 inches in, so that's the first one. And then I took a measurement every 12 inches, marked those on here. I just connected them with a straight edge for now, and then I'll take the jigsaw and cut this out. Now, for example, for this one, I want to keep this edge tangent, so I'm not going to follow the straight edge line. I'm going to bend outside of it a little bit, and the same up here. I'm not going to cut that straight. I'll put a nose on it. But I'll get it as close as I can with the jigsaw and then bring it out here, see how well it fits, and definitely probably have to do some sanding on it to get it to match. And then once this one is in good shape, I should be able to trace this onto the second outside runner, and that should be, and get much closer to start with without having to do as much sanding. So I've cut out the first of those outside ribs, the one that I had marked previously. Came out pretty good. I did a little bit of sanding on it too, especially in this area here. You could see that there was some additional stuff that had to come out of there. Still not quite there. Let me set this in the boat here. You can see that nose is still up in the air a good bit. And what I'm doing is marking the places where it's hitting. Right there, taking the sander to it, knocking that down a little bit, putting it back in here, marking it again, just slowly getting it to where it needs to be. I got the first outside rib to fit pretty nicely. I also tried it on the other outside rib, and it fit even better on that side than it did on the first. So using that as a template to cut out the second one, just put it on there, gave it a trace, and now it'll be time to get the jigsaw out and cut out that profile. Second one went in a lot easier. I'm going to do a little bit of sanding on it. On this first one, I kind of rounded both corners. You can, just to knock that corner off. They're going to be sitting in a bed of epoxy anyways, so I want that to be what conforms to the hull, so I don't want any sharp corners on there that might be holding it up and let some voids get underneath of it. But second one, much easier than the first one because I had that first one as a template. The third one will be a little bit tough again because that's obviously a different profile. But I will have these two to go off of. I have the two outside ribs in place. I put cross members across them to hold them vertically. And then I added a couple cement blocks just for weight to make sure that they're fully seated in the beds that they need to be on. Yeah, I don't see any serious issues there. There's a couple areas that it's not, well, even that's all the way down pretty much. But like I said, that'll be on a bed of the filler, and then they'll get glassed into place as well, so that will be much better from a structural perspective. So now what I'm going to do is remeasure the depth of that center rib. I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the first one, put a cross member across these two, measure down to the bottom, transfer that profile onto a board, cut it out, and then I'll have to go through the sanding process again to get that one formed, since I don't have one as a template. So getting there. So I actually finished putting these in last night, but it got a little too dark to take a video, so just wanted to show you how this ended up. Yeah, this they all fit in there pretty nicely. I left the little one just a hair tall in the front, so I have those blocks on it to press it down. I think it's maybe like 1/8 of an inch higher than the two outside ones, but they'll put a little bit of a bow in the floor, which I'm fine with that. Yeah, it fits in there pretty nicely. And I think the other thing that I decided is when I was measuring for the original ribs or stringers, I was trying to match the old floor line, and to achieve that I would have to take these cross members and put them in a little bit lower so that the top of them was equal with that height. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to raise that floor, I guess, one board height more. And the main reason to do that is I think I want to be glassing the new floor in slightly higher than the old one was. Just to get off that old bond line. It should make it easier to get a good bond on there and make sure I'm not pulling on something that was a less than optimal surface. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna go for. I actually got to run to the store and get some more 4-inch board to do the cross pieces, and I'm going to put more of them in there than there were previously as well, so it's good and in there. So here are all of the cross members cut, sanded, and shaped and fit into place. I screwed them down too, but before I screwed them down, I made sure that when I just set them across there, they were resting on these and not resting on either end, because I didn't want them trying to lift up those stringers. Stopped with the 3 there. I'm going to use this one as the 4th one, and just it's short enough where the ends won't need to be connected anywhere else. So the next step is to cut some boards to fill in the gaps between here and here, because now I want to bring this whole level up to there. Alright, so I got all of these pieces cut. As you can see, now everything is level. I did not screw these in yet. I'm gonna seal them all the way around before I connect anything together, so I'll do that later. But I'll number everything and then take them all out, get them all treated with the epoxy, and then I should be ready to epoxy them in here at that point. So making some progress.